Music review. Get it right. This is a 1977 album called A Period of Transition by Van Morrison. Now, just briefly, Morrison had come off the back of a couple of years hiatus following the enormous successes of the Vegan Fleece album and the two-album live set, Too Late to Stop Now, and took some time off. And so by the time he came back in 1977 with this collection of songs, it was thought that he would come back with a bang. It wasn't received very favourably, it has to be said, although the tracks really, there were only 7 of them, and it wasn't a very long album, but nevertheless, he hadn't really sort of done anything particularly out of the ordinary. There was still a combination of the soul, rock, rhythm and blues style, folk feel, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a perfectly good album. Not one of his best, but, you know, a good album by Morrison is far better than most best albums by other artists. So I'm going to briefly go through it now. Not elaborate on this, a brief review, and I'm going to review A Period of Transition, released in 1977. With You've Got to Make It Through the World, it's got a slinky sort of New Orleans funky soul rhythm that sits nicely, real spiritual feel to it, and that's basically got a lot to do with the contribution on this track and throughout the album of one Dr. John, who of course resides from New Orleans, and he was instrumental in contributing to all these songs on this particular album. Track 2 is It Fills You Up, which is a real R&B sound, good with spits of harmonica and those gospel harmonies wrapping themselves round the horns. And there's some great piano from Rabinek, who is Dr. John, by the way. Into the third track, which is my favourite, and it's an awesome piece of work. The Eternal Kansas City vintage a cappella intro to a great song with some funky jazz piano and horns. It's got a real ethereal voice sound to it. The jazz introductions, and then that chunky R&B, and of course the gospel sound. It floods this particular track, and it's an absolute gem. Joyous sound. There's some wailing vocals from Van here. Another rousing outro, gospel style. Moving to Flamingos Fly. This got a sort of reggae-ish intro with the horns spurting the beat out. And then a heavy connection, a big band intro here to a love song with that R&B ballady tempo. It's got a great horn solo. It's about a psychic love connection, and there's a great surge to the outro. And then we hit the final track, which is called Win in August. The vocals lead us into the horn-laden R&B blues soul tune. Ray Charles fingerprints back all over this one. Just listen to the gospel feel back in the mix. It's got some excellent accompanying piano again by Dr. John. And as I said, to say that this album is poor, these critics must be hearing something that I missed. It eases over my ears, and it has a great feel. Louisiana for sure. Great gospel harmonies, loads up towards the outro. So, in conclusion, as I say, a collaboration with Dr. John, significant. Van's songs feature familiar obsessions with William Blake, spirituality, thinking consideration about the poor, and the combination of the horns, gospel, funky rhythms make it a hit for me. It's very upbeat and catchy. and even though it was only 34 minutes, it's still worth a purchase. So that's a very, very brief review of Period of Transition. And I will have, as I go through the tracks, I will have the lyric sheets, plus, of course, the track list and the personnel involved running throughout this video. Okay, that's my lot.